DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574 today. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into Bills Weekly here on FingerLakes1.com. Paul Russo, Jim Senecropi, and Kyle Evans here with you. Victory Monday. We get to do this deal all over again. You'll love to see it. 27-24 the Bills with the win yesterday over the Jaguars in the AFC Wild Card round, which means we get to recap a game and preview the divisional round against the Denver Broncos this upcoming Sunday. A lot to get to, but first, I think a couple more of our sponsors, including, excuse me, went to the wrong camera. Good job by me. It's chaos here today, folks. I apologize. So there we go. Cicino's Pizzeria and Restaurant. You can visit Cicino's Pizzeria and Restaurant at their original Waterloo location or all new renovated location in Geneva. Dine-in, takeout, delivery, catering, and banquets. You can order online at Cicinos.com. Live, laugh, and eat well. It's the Italian way. And Finger Lakes Partners Insurance. Get the insurance you need from the people you know at Finger Lakes Partners Insurance, the Finger Lakes Insurance Agency. For your home, auto, or business, you can get an obligation quote today at fingerlakesinsurance.com. All right, Jim, happy to have you back in studio this week. We got Kyle coming in through Zoom today.
Yeah,
so
you previewed he wasn't here with us.
Yeah, I went to the wrong number on the input over here on my end. So job well done by me, just flying on all cylinders.
But it's good vibes here in the studio this morning. The Bills survived on the road against Jacksonville. They're moving on. They're on the road now again against Denver. And, the show, the podcast continues on, and the season continues on.
Yeah, you love it. And it's a rematch in this divisional round coming up from last year, so there's some stuff there to kind of dive into a little bit. But, before we get there, we have to really recap this wild card game. And, Jim, I mentioned to you, and Kyle, I'll say it to you because you didn't get it this morning from me, but I was texting some people yesterday during and after the game. They were really talking kind of about how, great it was and everything. I'm like, okay, but a lot of the same issues that we saw in the regular season obviously really crept up yesterday. And it was kind of funny hearing people talk because they're kind of down a little bit on the defense a little bit. I'm like, the defense is what bailed you out again yesterday. What are you guys talking about? And maybe I missed something. I don't know. Maybe I was watching a random game in a different timeline, but my vibes are the same that I've had kind of going from this game yesterday throughout the whole entire kind of end of the regular season and really second half on.
I mean, I think, and I'm interested to hear what Kyle thinks, obviously, about the game yesterday, but, I think that the reason people feel that way about the defense is because the Bills were really dominated on the lines, both sides of the ball yesterday. I mean, it was Josh Allen making crazy plays, getting, beat to crap in the process. And then the Buffalo Bills defense being opportunistic and getting a couple key turnovers. I mean, Tre'Davious White played his best game ever as a Buffalo Bill. He was phenomenal. And, of course, they, dealing with injuries again.
Yeah.
And that's been a theme of the season, but it's kind of a theme for all NFL teams, right? Everybody experiences injuries, but in the Bills' case, defense, losing Poyer and, having to go with rookie Jordan Hancock at safety, and then the injuries on the offensive side of the ball to Gabe Davis, and Josh Palmer was placed on IR, so the Bills only had 4 wide receivers for the game. They're going to have to, we're going to probably see Curtis Samuel next week, maybe Mercoli Hardman. But, all this stuff doesn't matter because you're in the playoffs and you just win. And if you put the ball in Josh Allen's hands in a close game with that opportunistic defense, you can win ball games. And I feel as good as I feel better this morning than I did 2 days ago about the Bills winning the Super Bowl this year because they just went on the road and beat one of the hottest teams in the NFL in their own stadium. Perfect conditions, great weather for the game. And, now they're going to have to go do that in Denver. But I feel like that might be an easier game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it will be interesting. We'll get to that obviously in just a minute because of some recapping and stuff like that.
I want to know what Kyle thinks.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kyle, throw it over to you. What was kind of your vibes? Because you attacked this from a couple different angles, right? Like you have fandom, coverage, everything like that. So what were the vibes for you yesterday?
Yeah, well, this was Josh Allen's fifth career playoff game, road playoff game. And in the previous four, in three of the four, his defense has allowed 30 or more points. So this is just the second time in 5 road playoff games in Josh Allen's career that the defense has held the opponent under 30 points. So for me, that was the impressive part, especially on the road with the weapons they were missing on defense. And then on top of that, the Bills had no run game. I mean, we kind of talked about it last week that the Jacksonville Jaguars have not allowed a 75-yard rusher all year. And we knew that going into the game that it was going to be tough to run the ball. And James Cook just couldn't get enough going, really. I mean, 2 3-yard carries basically every time he touched the ball. So for them to still put up 27 points on the road against a team that won 8 in a row in the wild card round, I thought it was a really impressive win.
Yeah, and I do agree with both of you in that sense, right? I mean, I think we talked about it on here, on the sports podcast, that we probably slept on this Jacksonville team a little bit too much throughout the year. And I know even in the broadcast yesterday, they brought up how, like, following kind of like week 10 for the Jaguars, they really hit a different gear, really kind of fueled by the trade deadline, Trevor Lawrence getting more familiar with that offense. So, yeah, the offensive side, spot on. Defensive side, yeah. I mean, James Cook, 15 for 46. I'm not exactly a math wizard, but a hair over 3 yards per carry is not great.
And they went away from him in the second half almost completely.
Yeah.
The Bills led the NFL in first down run plays during the regular season, and in the second half, they just ran the ball on about 30% of their first down plays in the second half. And that's one of the things that's disappointed me a little bit with the Bills is they do tend to abandon the run game when it's not working, which, obviously yesterday they won the game, so whatever they did, fine. But it's just a little disconcerting when that's really, your main identity on offense. Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things and James Cook being their leading rusher in the NFL. And complementary guys like Ray Davis also being able to put up numbers in the same game that Cook will go for over 100 yards. So to see that taken away from them and them still finding a way to win is encouraging. I just think they're going to have to do a little better on the ground against Denver.
And that won't be easy by any means, as
right.
we know. So it was interesting, Kyle. I want your thoughts on this as well. We kind of saw there was a bit of a wide array of sorts between players yesterday for the Bills, but Keon Coleman ran a rogue appearance, making a pretty big play when they needed it most. And,
one play.
But Khalil Shakir, it was good to see him have a focal point on offense, if you will, yesterday. I know he didn't get to the end zone, but he was the leading receiver for the Bills, so better late than never, kind of refining Shakir, I guess.
Yeah, yards after catch was a big thing with him too. They did still go with the screen passes, but this time he was actually getting yards after catch. And one that really stands out is that third down that looked like he was going to get stopped short, and he spun his way in for a first down. So he was big yesterday. And I also do want to mention Brandon Cooks. He did have a big drop. They overturned it on a replay. But the deep threat is there, and it seems like Josh Allen and Brandon Cooks are getting more comfortable as the weeks go on. And keep in mind, his longest reception was that 36-yard catch on that final drive before the Josh Allen go-ahead rushing touchdown. So Cooks was a big factor in this win.
Yeah.
He's going to be the reliable guy, I think, going forward into these playoffs. Cooks. Obviously, Shakir is the guy who's probably going to see the most overall targets because they get him the ball in short yardage, and out on the flat, and that'll probably continue. But outside of that, I think that Cooks is going to be Allen's most reliable target, and I think that yesterday showed that he's getting more comfortable with him being on the field. And yeah, they need somebody. They need a wide receiver. I just can't see him winning the Super Bowl, without being able to throw the ball downfield, I guess. And when he had to yesterday, he did. Coleman made that one play. You would like to think that Coleman could get 3 receptions, in a game, but apparently we should just take the one. Once he caught the first one, he should have just gone to the locker room.
Yeah. 1 target, 1 reception.
Yep.
It was such a weird play, too, for me watching it happen in real time because, I'm, looking at him, and we've talked about it on here, so I don't really want to, dwell on it, but it's I'm watching the Bills' 4th tight end meander up the sideline. And
the play could have gone for nothing, but he did break the first tackle, and off he went for, I don't remember how much, what was it, about 30 yards?
36. Well,
36?
after the catch, yeah. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of see what happens here because, as we mentioned, Gabe Davis exiting the game. He left the locker room on crutches, brace on his legs, so obviously not looking more than likely great. We'll hold out official hope until later on this afternoon, I'm assuming. Right, Kyle?
And we do have an update.
Oh, okay.
We do have an update this morning. The swelling was so bad that they couldn't do an MRI.
So that's not good.
No.
So, yeah, expect him just to be done. And expect McCole Hardman to be back on the active roster.
Yeah.
As opposed to Samuel?
We don't really have an update on Curtis Samuel. I would think he's close to being ready, but, yeah, we won't know more until later today.
Yeah. Davis did have a drop before he was injured.
Yeah.
That was a pretty big play that he should have made. So, I mean, we were all excited to have Gabe Davis back because he had the big playoff games in the past, but there's a reason he's, been bannered around the league and, trouble finding a roster spot this year. So,
don't worry. Tony Romo is gladly to tell you that Gabe Davis returned home.
He was awful yesterday.
Yeah, Tony. I mean, it was so hard listening to Romo. Yeah. I mean, every time they show a player hurt, he makes some sort of noise, oh no, oh no. Yeah, we know. And quit stepping on Jim Nance's toes. Jim Nance is the most legendary play-by-play guy, and you're just let him make the call, Tony.
Yeah, it was not Romo's finest hour.
It never is. It never is.
No.
How about the Josh Allen finger thing? As soon as he injured his finger, he kept talking, well, does the throw look the same? Does the speed, the velocity on the ball look the same? He kept analyzing it every time Josh threw the ball.
Yeah, guess what, Tony? And Allen gets hurt, he just keeps going. Yeah. So, it's something maybe like obviously Tony Romo was quarterback for a long time for the Cowboys, but I don't think he ever showed the kind of toughness that Josh Allen shows. So to hear him, that annoyed me too, Kyle, because they're going to have to drop a run play because he can't even throw the ball. Meanwhile, obviously he went on to throw for 270 something yards, so I guess his finger was okay.
And 7 incompletions. That's it.
Yeah, he was awesome.
It was pretty rough too, given the next game in line. Not to go too far into it, but then you have Tom Brady discussing about how you can make throws better in the wind and everything like that. And then,
Tom Brady was excellent yesterday, and last year I wasn't a fan. And this isn't really a color commentary and analyst podcast, but I think it is worth mentioning that I wasn't a fan of Brady last year. Mm-hmm. He really improved this year, and I think he's one of the best color guys in the game.
Yeah, no, he's done really well in his second year. We got actually a couple comments here I'm seeing on the YouTube side of things. Vincent, we're going to save your first question actually for when we get to kind of the Broncos preview, only because it has to do with potentially after the fact there.
Okay.
Do agree, Buffalo would have probably done really well with Devontae Adams in the offseason. He was one of the guys that I actually remember discussing back in April when we did our draft podcast about guys you can go and get. And you're pretty spot on with
a true number one
would
have been nice
that, so
for the Bills.
Yeah. just one of those things where I don't know. I think maybe now, I don't know if we'll see any outright changes in the offseason because they got a playoff win and stuff like that. But I would imagine for being the top of his get list is going to have to be a wideout one. And he doesn't get it.
Well, you
I
got to
don't
get
know.
some more feelers later in the draft. Pick up that 4th or 5th round wide receiver, and hope they develop. But again, these are conversations probably for when the Bills lose. Is until they lose in these playoffs. We're going with what we got, and it was good enough yesterday.
Yeah.
It was good enough yesterday to win on the road.
Yeah, for sure. Kyle, question for you. I know we talked about the wide receiver stuff here. Should we see maybe anything on the running back side of things here potentially shaking up behind James Cook? Ty Johnson obviously banged up, didn't suit up yesterday. We had Frank Gore Jr. in his first action in over a calendar year. Weird. Is there anything we should probably keep an eye on going forward at that spot for the divisional round?
Yeah, well, the Ty Johnson injury was actually a lot bigger than people, would think. He's a big part of their passing game. He does get a good amount of carries when James Cook is off the field. He's usually their third down guy too. They take James Cook off the field usually on third down. So I would expect to see him back though this week. Mm-hmm. So I don't think Frank Gore Jr. will be out there. But I mean, yeah, he had a decent game for only a second game of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just one of those things. It caught me so off guard that, and look, I don't want to make it sound like you don't use the guys you got, but I was very caught off guard that, and I know it was because he got a little bit himself dinged up on the fumble on the return, but the fact that we saw Frank Gore Jr. use pretty heavy there instead of Ray Davis for a while kind of caught me off guard, and I was like, far be it for me to question a professional coach, but not what I would have done for sure. So,
yeah, Ray Davis. I mean, he's been good all year. He led the NFL in kick return yards. So that fumble was a bad fumble on the kickoff. But then again, what did the defense do? They bailed him out and got that 4th down stop thanks to the replay, though.
True.
I don't know about you, but I knew Trevor Lawrence was short.
Right.
Of course, they had to replay it, but yeah, that was a great response by the defense to bail out your guy Ray Davis.
And Tony Romo botched that one too, I think.
Yeah.
Just the way he talked about it. But Kyle, what did you think about Tre'Davious White? To me, that's the story of the game. He was awesome. He made 3 key pass breakups in 3 key situations, including the final one, the final interception by Bishop. White tipped.
Yep. And he saved one at the goal line. Brenton Strange was going to catch it at the goal line
for a touchdown. Yeah.
Yep, he saved one earlier in the game too when he broke up a pass that held them to a field goal in the third quarter. Their only score of the third quarter. He was, again, I think I said it a couple weeks ago, he was vintage Trey White. He looked like back in 2017, 2018 when they first brought him in. And that was great to see. And it wasn't great to see, though, them lose Jordan Poyer, who's been really good and is now dealing with hamstring injuries in back-to-back weeks. But, yeah, the fact that, I mean, you do got to give Brandon Beane some credit on bringing those 2 guys back. I was one of the guys that was like, why would you bring them back? They're old, they're done. And they're actually some of the biggest pieces on their defense right now.
Yeah, another big piece on defense, another, I guess, McDermott guy really technically as well was Shaq Thompson yesterday, who, because of Trey White and everything, kind of probably flew under the radar more, but leading tackler yesterday, almost had the interception, pass deflection, everything like that. So it was a lot of maybe those names that we just don't kind of talk about a ton in the grand scheme of it yesterday that stepped up. And look, that's not to say the usual guys. I mean, look, Greg Rousseau had a good game yesterday, and it's been a rough year, would probably be putting it mildly for him overall. We've talked about it on here a ton. And Jim, you mentioned him, right? He was the guy who came in. Jordan Hancock ended up with actually tied second most tackles on the team yesterday. It was guys who just kind of stepped up when they needed to step up yesterday and get the job done, which has just been the motto of this Bills defense this year, it seems.
Yeah.
One thing I'll point out too, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
The amount of tipped balls, I don't know if you really caught that throughout the game,
Yeah.
but Trevor Lawrence could have had more than 2 interceptions throughout that game. They were getting their hands up at the line and tipping a lot of passes that were falling just short of guys, hands. So I thought the defense, for who they played, how good they've been since November, 8-game win streak on the road. Everyone was giving the Bills like no chance, especially the media. I don't know if you saw that all week, but the media was like, Josh Allen can't lose this. The pressure's all on him. And look who played better. The experienced quarterback who's played more playoff games, actually quadruple what Trevor Lawrence has played in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 9 pass deflections yesterday the Bills had. So,
Yeah.
that's a lot. That's a lot.
They're an opportunistic defense.
Yeah.
They've given up a lot of points at times this season, but in key situations they seem to come up with big plays, and that'll serve you well in the playoffs. And look, after tonight there'll be 4 teams left in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriots, who the Bills just beat back on December 14th. The Steelers, who the Bills beat handily. And then Denver and Houston. I mean, depending on who wins the Steelers-Houston game tonight. Obviously, the Bills and Texans don't tend to match up that well with a couple of losses past couple of years for the Bills. But, the Bills can get to the Super Bowl as easy as any of the other teams we just mentioned. Of course, they're going to have to go on the road, but they showed what they can do on the road on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they'll have to do it again. This time against Denver.
Mile High.
Mile High.
Yep.
Yeah.
Denver wins close games. Like, if we're not to the point where we're gonna like get into the Denver game yet, right? But Denver is the type of team that made a lot of fourth quarter comebacks. Wins close games, and so are the Bills. And so I'll take Josh Allen in a close game over any quarterback in the league, other than maybe Pat Mahomes a couple years ago, going back a few years ago. I think the Bills are in a great spot, even though they're still going on the road, 1 week at a time.
Yeah. To be fair, the early stuff has the Bills as slight favorites in this game.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
On the road against the number 1 seed.
Yep.
Coming off a bye.
Yeah.
Oh, should be well rested.
Yeah.
Another young superstar, Bo Nix. Great. They got great deep wide receivers. They got good running game. They got good defense. But I'll take the Bills.
Yep. Hey, well, we'll get to that portion of it in just a few minutes. So, all in all, everything looked good. Matt Prater looked no worse for wear either in the game.
He's awesome.
Yeah. Luckily, no worries there. Normally,
even the kickoff at the end.
Yeah.
He put it right down there to the 1 yard line, which is one thing I want to talk about from the last possession. The tush push where they carried Allen down to the 1 was pretty awesome.
yeah.
If I was McDermott at that moment, I would have taken the snap and not taken a knee, but just fallen forward at the 1, run the clock, a little time off the clock. Because the touchdown only gave him a 3-point lead, and let's face it, if that ball wasn't intercepted by Cole Bishop on the final drive, we were probably heading to overtime. Mm-hmm. And the Bills had full control of the ability to win that game. Run the clock down at least inside 20 seconds. You had timeouts. You had chances to run the tush push 2 or 3 times if you had to, which they didn't. Because they kind of let him score. But I just thought the NFL is different nowadays. If this was 10 years ago, I would have said, you got to get the points when you can. But after they got down there, you knew the Bills were going to get in the end zone, right?
Yeah.
And you knew it was going to be Josh Allen. So why not just take a little more time off knowing how the NFL is and make it almost impossible for Jacksonville to come back and get 3 points?
Especially with, because you mentioned it, Cam Little, who,
But well, yeah.
look, I don't know if they would have they would have, right? But like, what's the actuality? He makes a 70-yarder, probably pretty slim still nonetheless, but
60-yarder?
he's got, no, that's the thing,
Yeah.
right? He's got a 67 and he's got a 68.
Yeah.
Like it's in the repertoire.
So knowing that, you're gonna you score right away, and there's too much time. I said to it's funny, my wife, she doesn't really watch the Bills games, or she loosely follows them. So she comes in the fourth quarter, and she's like, how are the Bills doing? And then she sits down and watches the end of the game. And, when they scored the touchdown for Josh Allen, she acted like the game was over. And, I said this game's going to overtime. They left them too much time. Kyle, what did you think about that situation at the end of the game?
Yeah, I was really worried. I thought it was at least overtime, and especially how the Bills have performed in the final minutes in the playoffs in general. I mean, we've seen, obviously 13 seconds and all that, but I agree. I mean, I get both arguments though, because I've heard people say, well, they could have gotten a false start. Well, they could have, if the Jaguars had no more timeouts, which they didn't, and they knew that the Bills just had to get in or the game was over, then they would have started punching the ball more.
Yeah.
And they said after the game that the Jaguars did that they actually just let Josh Allen score, which of course you would.
Right.
I mean, you had no timeouts and you want to get the ball back for your kicker. So yeah, I get both sides of the argument, but if I'm the coach, I'm probably doing what you said. I'm not risking them tying the game.
At least just once, snap it, fall forward so you're down on the 2-inch line, and let 20 seconds run off, or even 15.
Yeah.
And then on second down, go for then start trying to score, which they probably will let you score in that situation too. But I thought there was way too much time, and I mean, I guess in that situation, everybody thought the Bills were going to score the touchdown, so why not just take more time off and score the touchdown? Because I think the same people that thought that were pretty leery of the fact that of the Bills being able to stop Jacksonville from getting a field goal on the ensuing possession. So it's easy to second guess, on Monday mornings, and it's even easier to do it after a win, I guess, because everybody who really cares, they won. But to me, in the way that the NFL is, that could have been the difference. Just that decision to leave that much time for Jacksonville could have been the difference in the Bills season. Jacksonville could have came down, kicked a field goal, could have gone to overtime. Anything could have happened. It's just something I've been thinking about overnight after watching that. Because to me, I'm like, there's too much time.
Yeah, I mean, not to give PTSD stuff here, but the 13-second game lives on for reasons.
Yeah, Mahomes only needed 13 seconds.
Yeah. So I know it's a little bit different circumstances, but we see crazy stuff in football happen all the time.
This is a different NFL.
Yeah.
It's it's so funny too, because you'll see games go into the fourth quarter where maybe each team scored a touchdown and kicked a couple field goals, and then all of a sudden it's like, how many times does a team score like 25 points in the last 6 minutes of a game, or the last fourth quarter of a game? We see it every week, and it's because when pushed into that situation in the modern NFL, it just seems that the teams can move down the field quickly, and sometimes it's a pass interference call that does it. I just thought when the Bills have the football, even though they're still trailing by 4, inside, on first and goal from the inside the 1-yard line, they have full control of the game. And even though they scored the touchdown and take the lead, now all of a sudden they kind of don't have that control anymore, and they gave Jacksonville a chance. So again, I'm not like trying to find a reason to beat up on Sean McDermott. It was a great win yesterday, but it could have slipped away.
Yeah, and that's a thing that we talk about with McDermott a ton, is the time management stuff, and I don't know.
Or they could have done that, and then, like you said, I'd be shocked if there was a false start in that situation, but things can happen. Maybe he fumbles the snap. I don't know. So I'm not an NFL head coach. I just watch a lot of NFL football. And to me, that was set up yesterday perfect. Oh, they left him way too much time. We're going to overtime. I was sure we were going to overtime. But then, God bless him, Tre'Davious White makes another play and interception, and the Bills win.
And we move on to a rematch from last year's playoffs. Denver Broncos. On Saturday, to be determined time-wise still as to what we'll see. It's either, 4:30 or 8, right, I think?
Yes.
For Saturday, so thank you. Yeah, this is a rematch from a game last year in the wild card round. Bills hosted last year, and 31-7 victory for the Bills in that game.
Different season.
Completely different though this time around. So, yeah, Jim, you kind of mentioned it, right? Broncos are the first one overall seed in the AFC. They have the bye, a week off. They're going to be coming in rested.
And they're making the Bills go a day early.
That's true.
Like the Bills that game should be on Sunday. It's like it's so unfair to the Bills to lose that day, especially with injury concerns and everything around it.
Yeah, I mean yeah, I mean, I agree. It's just one of those things where I just don't understand. I mean, I get it; it's money, but I don't understand the whole entire Saturday thing to a degree here, especially when the week after you moved everything. You have the 2 games on Sunday, and either way,
I hate
digress.
Saturday games, but I get it this time of year when college football's over. For the most part, there's not college football on Saturday.
True.
So the Bills are the NFL is gonna take advantage, but I think it's just unfair that the Bills now have to turn around one day sooner than they normally would against a bye team. In their stadium, it's rough. They could use that extra day.
Yeah, certainly agree there. So, Kyle, this Bronco team, as we know, defensive play is their MO, but that offense has shown signs of life throughout the time this year. But I don't know. This is an interesting matchup. I don't know what notes you can necessarily draw from last year's game to this year's because it's been a completely different season for both of these teams. But I think maybe you can draw certain strings from last year to this year. But what's the initial thought here with this matchup?
Well, I'll start here. Jim kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. 13 of their 17 games this season have been decided by 8 points or fewer. So yes, they play a lot of close games. Nearly every one of their games have been close. And yes, they're the number 1 seed, and you can't take that away from them. And of course, they won 14 games. But here's a pretty crazy stat. 8 of their 13 wins have come against backup quarterbacks or rookie quarterbacks. And remember, one of their wins, they needed 33 fourth quarter points to beat the Giants.
Yeah, the Giants.
Again, that was a home game. So yes, they are also 7-2 at home, or 8-1 at home, sorry. But a lot of their games are just against, like, here let me just run through a few. Cam Ward, Jake Browning, Jackson Dart, Davis Mills, Geno Smith, Marcus Mariota, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. Like, you see where I'm getting here. Yes, they're a great team still, a great defense. But a lot of their wins have come against terrible, terrible quarterbacks.
And a lot of them weren't convincing wins.
Yeah,
against
that's
those
another
guys.
thing too.
So now they got Josh Allen coming in.
Yeah, so they have 68 sacks, of course, which is the 5th most ever in NFL history. And to put that into perspective, that's 21 more sacks than the Houston Texans. And we saw what the Texans did against the Bills, back in November with all the sacks. So it's going to be tough for the Bills' offensive line. But let's turn it over to the Broncos' offense quick. They're not as great as people think. They actually are number 14th in the league in scoring, so average. They actually have the 5th most turnovers in the entire league. But their offensive line is good. They allow the least amount of sacks. So basically their offense is just inconsistent. That's what it really comes down to. There's a lot of times, I think we even talked about on our betting podcast, that you don't know what you're going to get from the Broncos. First half, they're really bad. Second half, they're really good. Similar to the Bills. So I think this team is certainly beatable. Yes, they're the number 1 seed, so they look almost unbeatable, but they're not. I think Josh Allen and the Bills can go in there and beat them.
And I do think that Denver's pass rush can work to Buffalo's advantage because it can create opportunities for Josh Allen to step up and run. If the play calling's good, to dump it, like some of those dumps to Shakir, or even maybe some passes to James Cook when they're blitzing could work out. It's sometimes against the Bills, I think that if you just sat back and gave Josh Allen time, maybe he wouldn't be as prolific. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but Josh Allen took a beating, against the Jaguars. Like, he's unbelievable. Like, I mean, I haven't followed sports my whole life. He's one of the most amazing athletes I've ever seen, in the fact that it doesn't matter what happens to him. He keeps coming back. Like, he got wrecked yesterday. Time after, especially in the first half. And during the season, he took a beating during the season. The one thing that concerns me is, okay, maybe his career is going to be cut short by all this abuse he takes. But that's his style of play, and he no matter what happens to him, he's coming back and he's getting it done. It's amazing.
The leg for me yesterday was the big worry spot.
Oh, it didn't look like any other player.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, he's out for the season, or he's
Yeah.
out for 6 weeks, or he's going to need surgery. But and Allen had trouble walking off, and then he comes back, the next possession, and it's like nothing happened.
Yeah. It's he's insane. I mean, Josh is Josh.
Yeah, no, he like that's why we don't know how good a coach Sean McDermott is, right? I mean, I don't know. If I had Josh Allen, I think I could win football games too.
Are we doing the Tom Brady or Belichick thing, but with Josh and McDermott right now?
Well, yeah, kind of. I guess we are. But Belichick has quite a resume. Regardless. But yeah, no, I'm not trying to bash on McDermott either. I do like McDermott. But man, Josh Allen is like 1 in a million.
Yeah.
1 in a million, and so yeah, if they don't get this done against Denver and lose it, and let's say they get it done against Denver, lose in the AFC Championship game potentially to the Patriots, I think that McDermott's on the hot seat if he doesn't get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think if you've been listening to Bills Weekly since the start of it, you know my feelings on Sean McDermott. So I don't think I need to really go deeper in on my end with that. But yeah. And that's the thing where I think the win yesterday might have bought McDermott and even probably Brandon Beane to a degree some leverage, if you will, this offseason. But that's more of a discussion for whenever the final podcast of the season kind of happens.
Allen has 10 playoff wins, right?
Kyle?
Does that sound right, Kyle?
Sorry, I don't have it pulled up, but I can get it pulled up. Just
I
one
think
second.
I believe he has won 10 playoff games, but not getting to the Super Bowl yet. And again, you could sit here and say I could bash McDermott over that, but it wasn't his fault that the refs kind of gave Kansas City the win, and that the Bills should have been in the Super Bowl that year.
True. Yeah.
So, my big thing is Josh Allen is clearly the best player in the NFL. I don't want to hear about anybody else. Like, he just is. NFL's a physical league, and he's 1 in a million. So if the Bills don't get to a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl during this Josh Allen era, which is probably about halfway through his career right now, best case scenario, right?
The way he plays, probably, yeah. I mean, that's a fair.
And when will the Bills ever do it?
Yeah.
Are they going to just magically find another Josh Allen?
Probably not.
So, like, this is it, guys, right? This is it.
It's hard to imagine it not being. We talked about it the first podcast of the season. Like, everything's shaped up like in a perfect world for the Bills this year, and they took the tough road to get there.
And they're not as good a team as we thought they would be.
Yeah, and you just can't waste opportunities like this at this time.
So
I do have his numbers quickly.
Yeah,
all right.
He's 8-6 in the playoffs.
Okay,
but here's the big number. He's 0-5 against Kansas City and Cincinnati in the playoffs, but he's 8-0 against the rest of the NFL in the playoffs.
Guess who's not in the playoffs this year? Kansas City or Cincinnati.
And if they do make the AFC Championship game, this will be the third time they make the AFC Championship game in 6 years.
Yeah.
So in the last 6 years, they have made the divisional round 4 times. but they can, make the AFC Championship 3 times.
Yeah. Hey. Well,
I don't
And
know,
again,
man.
they're not playing the Chiefs.
No.
So,
Well, I think we can maybe get to the prediction element here.
Sure, at least we know who they're playing.
That is true.
We
We
could
know
have been
it's
sitting
we
here
know
not
it's on
knowing.
Saturday. We just don't know
I
what
know.
time.
I hate that. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I just think it's total crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crap.
Let it
To
out.
do that to a team, to make them play a team coming off a bye with one less day, it's just inexcusable. I don't even know what to say about it. I hope it doesn't, determine. Well, there's no way to determine if that's the factor that makes the Bills lose. But I tell you, it's another rung on the ladder that the Bills are going to have to overcome.
That's for sure true. Saturday, weather is clear at the moment in Denver, but that can obviously change on a pretty good dime. So,
Do you think it's
knows?
better or worse for the Bills if the weather's bad?
well, weather is always a little bit of a great equalizer to a degree. I don't know if it's as big of maybe a factor as it would be if it was another team, just because Denver, they do practice outside when needed in these scenarios and stuff like that. And although I don't know, it's been a mild winter so far in Colorado. I've seen, look, not that this is Golf Weekly on Finger Lakes, but I've seen videos of people golfing in the Denver metro area pretty much straight up through right now even. So, hey, maybe it would be a little bit of an equalizer. We've gotten enough snow around here lately.
I think the worst conditions better for the Bills in any scenario against any team.
Yeah.
But obviously, perfect conditions yesterday in Jacksonville, no problem. Bills win.
Yeah. Yeah, they were swimming in the stadium again yesterday. Although I don't know if I'd be swimming in 65-degree weather, to be fair. But that's just me. So for my prediction here, I'm gonna answer Vincent's first question here a little bit here about Buffalo and New England in the AFC Championship game together.
He's looking ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a better possibility than I would have thought going into yesterday, if I'm being totally honest. So, I'm going to side still with Buffalo here, just because if you're going to push come the shove here, me on this, I do trust Josh to handle the situation better than Bo Nix is in this scenario.
Right, that's the one thing the Bills got going for
Yeah.
us against anybody except for Aaron Rodgers that we might face heading forward.
True. Yeah, even on the NFC side now. Well, maybe. Well, I guess it kind of depends.
Sam Darnold? No, he hasn't got playoff.
Well, I was kind of thinking Purdy, but I don't know.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, Purdy, I guess, and Stafford as well has
Yeah.
some experience. But
That's really far down the line for what we're
all right, let's
discussing
worry
right
about
now,
the AFC
so.
for now.
I think the Bills get it done. I do think it's a lot kind of like yesterday, though. I don't think this is going to be easy by any means. I think
Exactly.
it's going to
It's gonna
be
come down the end. That's
Yeah.
why I like the Bills.
Yeah.
That's why I like Allen over Nix.
yeah. So I think I'm going to go 27-24 again. Bills get it done. It's one of those things where I see this kind of shaking out in a similar way. It's not going to look pretty. We're probably going to come in here on a week from right now and discuss probably a lot of the same things in my mind. And Vincent, to answer your question on my end of things, I do think it will be the rubber match of the season for the Bills and Patriots in the AFC Championship game. So double prediction on my end, I guess. The Patriots will beat Houston and or Pittsburgh.
Here's my prediction: Bills beat Denver 23-19.
Mhm.
Steelers beat the Texans tonight, and then beat the Patriots, and then it's Bills Steelers in Pittsburgh.
Mm.
All because what seed are the Bills? 6.
Yeah.
Steelers are 4 seed.
Yeah.
Texans are 5. I mean, it just sucks that they're not going to get a home game, but the Bills went down and beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh earlier this year, just a few weeks ago.
That's true.
Several weeks ago now. I guess it was November 30th. So that's my prediction. But again, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, we just want to be here next Monday talking about
Previewing
how
another
the
game.
Bills beat Denver, whether it was by 1 or by 50.
Yeah.
All that matters is wins now. All throughout the regular season, when we analyze these games, we talk about what they need to do going forward. And that's all over. Now they just need to win one game each week. I don't care how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
So 23-19 is my prediction.
There you go. Kyle.
Yeah, I think the run game will be better for the Bills in this game. I think James Cook will have more success, a little bit more success. Broncos' run defense is still really good. And I'll take the Bills 26 to 24.
Ooh, all right. So we're all in the same neighborhood. We
Yep.
love that. And in a similar way to last week, guys, I'm going to say it the same way. No matter what, we'll be back here again next Monday morning to discuss, and hopefully we'd have another one after it. So that's the plan.
I think we're gonna. I
Yeah.
think we're gonna feel good about it.
I'm with you. So I got nothing else on my end. I don't know if I've missed anything you guys want to touch on quick before we head out of here, but on my end, I'm all set. I'm good to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a long week waiting. That was the Bills' first road playoff win since 1992, which
Wow.
that's something that we didn't mention.
No.
That was 4 years before Josh Allen was born.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to go for number 2 next Saturday
Mm-hmm.
in Denver.
That reminds me, I did get a meme from somebody saying Highmark is officially closed with John Thompson's face on it. And I'm just like, this is quite the entendre happening. with
That's
that.
a meme that you need to be of a certain age and really deep to understand.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
to understand what
But
it means.
I was baffled by it because I'm sitting there going like, but there's a lot of Syracuse. I'm like, you're a Syracuse fan. What is happening?
Well, and the Bills won the last game at Highmark.
Yes, that's true.
So that's a
That's
big
true.
difference too.
Yeah. So, Kyle, anything else on your end, or are you all set?
I got one cool stat.
Have at it.
It's not great probably if you're a Bills fan because you want more, but if you're another fan, you would probably love for this to happen. The Bills have recorded at least one playoff win in 6 consecutive seasons. They became just the 4th team ever to do that in NFL history.
Yeah, that is a great stat.
6 straight years of at least one playoff win. That is hard to do.
Yeah, that's amazing. And again, that's why I struggle here. Said some bad things potentially about McDermott or saying how this is like a do or die. Like how many franchises in any sport would kill for that record, to have that on the resume. So, but again, you got Josh Allen. He wins games.
The great equalizer.
So the drama continues, the soap opera, the season, the legacy of the Buffalo franchise. So much on the line next Saturday at Denver. If they lose, how much confidence? Like how many seasons of Josh Allen's career are we going to go without the Bills at least appearing in a Super Bowl, let alone win one for a franchise that's never won a Super Bowl? This next week is unbelievably huge. And then if they win that, when they win that, the next week's going to be even bigger.
Yeah. Palpable buzz would be the term to be using, I think.
And I'm not even like a diehard Bills fan. Like there's Bills, lifelong Bills fans that are older than me that remember the Super Bowl runs in the 80s and in 1990. They were a field goal away from winning, and it's now 35 years later.
Yeah.
So, if not now, when? I don't think the Bills can take another season. Bills fan base we'll have the new season stadium open next year. That'll be fun and everything. But I don't know if the Bills fan base can suffer through it. They got to get to a Super Bowl this year. They got to.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd go back to what I said a couple minutes ago for what we talked about at the start of the year with the podcast. This year had it perfectly set up for them. They took the hard road to get to the playoffs, and now it's at least to get to the Super Bowl, right? You have a path and you just have to take advantage of it. And that's been, I don't know, that's always been a little bit of that Achilles heel, right? Is the fact that there's always just kind of been something, and they stumble over it, whether it's their fault or something else, or, and I don't know. I don't mean to disparage a legend in this way, but I'd hate for Josh Allen to be a Dan Marino in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And that's where he's at right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So
maybe a little more playoff experience than Dan Marino, right?
As of right now, maybe.
But Dolphins were not in the playoffs a lot. Of course, I think there were a few less teams each year that got in
right
then. But yeah. Well, and then you got guys like Peyton Manning or John Elway, who it was late in their career when they finally broke through. So maybe that's what's in store for Josh Allen too. But I don't know. Why not right now?
Exactly. All right, Kyle, I know you spoke up just now quickly, so.
Yeah, I got one more thing. I just quickly researched. The Broncos, among the teams left, the Broncos have the longest playoff losing streak. They have not won a playoff game since 2015.
Ooh, Peyton Manning.
And remember, this is Bo Nix's second career playoff game. So I think those two numbers go well for the Bills. Experience does matter. Jim said it over and over again. It does matter.
It showed yesterday. Nothing against Trevor Lawrence, who's gaining experience. But anybody who watched that game, it's hard to argue that the Jacksonville Jaguars weren't the better overall football team.
Yeah.
But the Bills won, and it's because of Josh Allen. And even the calmness. What did he say in the huddle before the last drive? I love you guys. I got your back. You got my back. That's it. And then
he's so calm and confident and nothing. Every time they flash him on TV, he's always just so relaxed on the bench. And he comes out and just gets it done.
We'll see if he can do it one more week.
Yeah.
And then another week, and then Super Bowl.
Yeah, ideally we'll be here in a month talking about.
If the Bills win the Super Bowl, we'll continue this every Monday throughout the whole off season.
Okay.
Because the Bills fan base will be out of their minds, and rightfully so.
I can't wait to cover Josh Allen at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am for 1 week of Bills Weekly. So that'll be great. So yeah, on that note, we'll officially get out of here. Really appreciate everybody for hanging in with us here. I know we started a little bit late. We had to get Kyle in on Zoom today and everything, so it worked out great. And hopefully it'll work out just as well next Monday as we continue on here with Bills Weekly. So appreciate everybody for listening and tuning in. You can find Bills Weekly on FingerLakes1.com, the FL1 YouTube channel, and all major podcasting platforms. Back again, 10 a.m. next Monday morning. Good luck to the Bills. Let's go, Buffalo.